for the men and women who work in education, for the inspiration and long breath of your Holy Spirit, that they may give the best of themselves in the service of future generations. We pray for an inspired and confident education in communion with our Catholic faith community, that we may not hide the light of your faith and that we may continue to bear witness to your love in word and deed. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. This year we celebrate 30 years of re-establishment of St. Stanislav Institution. It's a good anniversary to organize also a conference which addresses the current topics in Catholic education field, but not only our. These 3 days we want to offer a convergence of minds, hearts and visions. Our theme, Between Blue Sky and Blue Screen, encapsulates the delicate balance we seek to uphold timeless wisdom while embracing the transformative power of technology. Therefore, today we want to explore the role of Catholic education in the society. Tomorrow, we want to move to digitalization and artificial intelligence in education. And Saturday is then dedicated to share the examples of good practices. I want to thank to all the contributors, teachers who know and have experienced what is the best for the students. Now I want to introduce our first speaker, our guest, Bishop Anton Jamnik, who is Auxiliary Bishop of Ljubljana and also the President of the Commission for Education at the Bishops' Conference of Slovenia. Please.
This is artificial intelligence now. Good afternoon to everyone. Dear Director, Magister Tone Česen, all the guests from Europe, United States, and from Slovenia, different schools, Marko Valguni, who organized this conference. Today is Ascension, the Lord's Ascension, but it's also the feast of the Day of Europe. So we are celebrating also the Day of Europe, and it is a great opportunity for all of us to celebrate with this international conference. When Slovenia became the member of European Union before 20 years, in 2004, a friend from Ireland, Jim Cousin, wrote me the message. He was responsible for education in Ireland. He wrote me the message, Tony, welcome home. So, welcome home. I hope that you will feel at home in St. Stanislav College and in this very, very interesting international conference. I'm grateful to Director Tone Česen, who is the great director. When I was director in this school, he came as a teacher. And in few months, he was the most popular teacher in our school, in the grammar school. They say, oh, Česko, hello, everybody. And I'm sure he's working now very, very well. And the mission of St. Stanislav College is still here in Slovenia and also in Europe with all international connection, which was always very, very important, the great for us. So, dear Director, thank you so much. All the best for this anniversary. In my name, of Diocese of Ljubljana, Archbishop, and of course of Bishops' Conference of Slovenia. The mission of Catholic School, I will say maybe some words later, it is that we are in Europe, where is plurality so important. Everybody, Catholic school, other school, can do many good things, not just Catholic, also very public school, other private school. In one of the values of in Europe, which is very important, is plurality, civil society, and that we are in Europe, as now we are talking about Catholic school, the voice of values, solidarity, dialogue, respect each other, that we will always respect the human dignity, human rights. So to be together, that our Europe will be also with our educational system do something good for this EU where we are, and also for geopolitical situation in the world is becoming, is changing very, very fast. So the Europe will be also the witness of gospel, the witness of values in this situation where we are. So I hope that you will feel really at home. Thank you so much to director, all the teachers, all the headmasters of St. Stanislaw. I'm so happy that now it's not just a grammar school, but it is kindergarten, then it is primary school, secondary school, then a grammar school, and then it is residence for students, and many other things. So thank you so much. Welcome here, and I wish you a lot of inspirations in this time between this feast today and Pentecost, which we are waiting. So I'm sure that we will be with different opinion, different languages, different experience which we have in different countries in Europe. We can do, if we will be open to the Holy Spirit, we can do something together, something good and beauty in our Europe. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you so much to the Bishop Jamnik. Before I present our panel, I think I need to pay a compliment to the Bishop as well. If Tone was a very popular teacher, then I must say Anton was a very popular director as well. And I don't know if he knows, but from the time when I was a student, so he was my first director here, and he still owes me a beer, which I do not intend to collect, because now for eternity I can say that I'm owed a beer by the Auxiliary Bishop of Ljubljana. But he went with us, with the students, on an excursion, and I don't know exactly what the story was, but I know I have a beer owed, which I prefer to have that way. But anyway, so on the screen behind me you see three guests who are going to sort of form the evening today. And we're really thankful to them all for agreeing to join us. We're going to start with Professor Cataro from Fordham, because he has a prior engagement, so he can be with us for the next 40 minutes or so. And then we're going to continue with our friends from Austria and Ireland, a friend of Jim Cassin that you mentioned as well, Paul Mini is with us, and Marie-Therese Igretz from Austria. But first, I would like to welcome Professor Jerry Cataro. So he's a full professor at Fordham University, dealing a lot with the formation of teachers and leaders in Catholic education, also a counselor to the Dicastery for Culture and Education. And Jerry, welcome to Ljubljana on this virtual screen. I would like to first ask you maybe for your impression, or for your estimate of where we are now as a society moving towards, you have your experience from the United States, but you're working a lot with Europe. What would you say some challenges are facing Catholic education, especially being transformed now in the light of ever more present technology? Maybe we can start with that, and we're going to hear Professor Cataro with his initial impulse, and then maybe ask him a couple of questions.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Good morning, Your Excellency. Good morning, honored guests, and a special hello to Marco and Anton. Thank you for having me here this morning. Excuse me, for you it's this evening. I was asked to address some global challenges and adaptations in Catholic education. Catholic education is renowned for its dedication to forming individuals in faith and academics, moral values, but however faces numerous challenges in the global landscape. I hope to address 5 of the primary challenges that Catholic education institutions encounter and maybe discuss some potential strategies to address these complexities effectively. While the context is global application, it's contextual with Slovenia. Like many parts of the world, Catholic schools in Slovenia, from my understanding, face challenges such as funding, maintaining enrollment, integrating modern educational practices with religious traditions. However, in Slovenia, Catholic education also plays a crucial role in maintaining cultural heritage and providing a community-centered education. The first of these challenges I would like to address is secularization and cultural diversity. One of the most pressing challenges for Catholic educators is the growing trend of secularization and the increasing cultural diversity within school populations. As societies become more secular, the foundational religious values of Catholic education are often viewed as antiquated or irrelevant. Moreover, with a more cultural diverse student body, there arises a challenge in maintaining a coherent religious ethos while respecting varied cultural backgrounds. The rise of secular ideologies in traditional Catholic strongholds presents a profound challenge, often leading to a diminished emphasis on religious education. Furthermore, the increased pluralism seen in many Catholic institutions has prompted a reevaluation of how religious values are integrated into the curriculum. The tension is particularly evident in many of our urban areas, where schools must cater to diverse student bodies with varying degrees of religious adherence. For example, in urban centers like New York, London, Catholic schools frequently serve cosmopolitan communities, necessitating a curriculum that is both inclusive and respectful of diverse religious backgrounds while maintaining this Catholic doctrinal integrity. The challenge is to walk on water. Some strategies might be implementing and adapting curriculum that can uphold Catholic values while fostering inclusive environment for students of all faiths. Also encouraging interfaith dialogue and community engagement initiatives to bridge gaps between diverse student populations. Another challenge is technology and its integration. The rapid pace of technology advancement presents both an opportunity and a challenge for our Catholic schools. Integrating technology in the classroom is essential for modern education. However, it must be balanced with Catholic teachings. The challenge lies in utilizing technology to enhance learning without detracting from the spiritual and moral development of our students. Digital technologies become indispensable educational tools. Our schools face the challenge of integrating these tools in many ways that complement their traditional educational values. The potential distraction and often secular content available online can conflict with our spiritual development goals. Let's take a look at the elephant in the room, the challenges of artificial intelligence to our schools. The integration of artificial intelligence in educational settings presents both opportunities and challenges, especially for institutions grounded in specific ethical or religious principles such as our Catholic schools. I would like to address that the primary challenges that AI poses to Catholic educational systems focuses on maintaining values, ethical implications, and educational paradigm shifts. Additional potential strategies to navigate these challenges would be, first, ethical and moral concerns. AI's capabilities often lead to questions about surveillance, data privacy, and the ethical use of technology, areas that conflict with Catholic social teachings on dignity and privacy. Our schools face the challenge of using AI tools that respect these values without compromising safety and privacy of all our stakeholders. Maintaining the human connection in education. Our education emphasizes the holistic development of the individual, focusing on spiritual, moral, intellectual, and social growth. The impersonal nature of AI-driven education, primarily when used for personalized learning and assessment, may undermine these goals, leading more to a more mechanistic approach that might neglect the human aspect of education. AI, by its very nature, is neutral. The content it delivers can sometimes contradict Catholic philosophy and ideology. Ensuring that AI systems uphold the Church's teachings requires vigilance and oversight, posing significant challenges in curriculum management and digital content vetting. There's a significant investment required for latest AI technologies, which can be a substantial barrier for less affluent Catholic schools. This disparity can lead to a digital divide affecting educational equity and access, contrary to our commitment to inclusivity and social justice. The effective integration of AI into educational practices necessitates that both educators and students are adequately prepared to teach and use these technologies. The need for ongoing professional development and digital literacy education presents logistical and financial challenges to the administrators of our schools, which must balance these needs with other educational priorities. Some responses to AI challenges. First, developing ethical AI frameworks that align with our social teachings can guide the implementation of AI technologies. These frameworks should address privacy, data security, inclusivity, and ensuring that AI tools enhance educational fairness and integrity. We must carefully integrate AI within the curriculum to augment our traditional teaching methods without replacing them. Help maintain the human-centered approach of our Catholic education. AI should be seen as a tool to enhance understanding and engagement, not a substitute for the teacher-student relationship. We can strengthen the components of moral and spiritual education in response to AI's challenges and can ensure student development critical thinking skills to navigate more complex moral landscapes of the modern technology. Engaging in partnerships with technology firms and other educational institutions can enable resource training and sharing. Many AI technologies are more accessible. These collaborations can also help in developing AI applications that are specifically tailored to and respect our educational goals. We have to invest in the continuance professional development of teachers in the field of AI and educational technologies is crucial. Similarly, incorporating AI literacy into the students' curriculum will prepare students for a technologically advanced world while grounding them in our values. AI presents significant challenges to our Catholic schools, from ethical dilemmas and the risk of depersonalization to financial and logistic hurdles. However, by embracing a proactive approach that includes the development of AI frameworks, careful curriculum integration, and strategic partnerships, our schools can navigate these challenges. This will allow them to harness AI's benefits while faithfully adhering to their mission to educate students as whole persons in a rapidly changing world. So the strategies will be to balance technology integration, careful selection of technology that supports our pedagogical goals without overshadowing the spiritual mission, and educating our students and faculty on ethical issues related to technology use, emphasizing respect, privacy, and the common good. A third issue that is a challenge for us in Catholic education is, and we whisper it, financial constraints. Many of our educational institutions face financial constraints due to, particularly in the United States, declining enrollment, reduced funding from traditional sources such as the church and charitable donors. The financial pressure can lead to cuts in essential programs, reduced staff, and in some cases, as in the United States, close schools. Economical substantiality in viability of Catholic schools is under threat. Rising operational costs and dwindling church support, as mentioned before, are targeted. The economic strain is compelling schools to rethink their financial models and outreach strategies. This requires, so for example, schools in economically disadvantaged areas, particularly in parts of Africa and Latin America, struggle with maintaining quality education due to financial limitations. It's important at this venture in talking about economics to mention international government funding of Catholic schools. The intersection of government funding and Catholic education is pivotal of discussion in the context of any public policy and religious education. The dynamics of international government funding for Catholic schools, considering the implication for educational access, quality, and the perseverance of religious identity. I would also address the challenges and benefits associated with such funding. Across the globe, the model of government funding for Catholic schools varies significantly. In some countries, such as Australia and parts of Europe, Catholic schools receive substantial government subsidies, which support operational costs and help in maintaining affordable tuition fees. This model promotes educational choice and diversity, but raises questions about the autonomy of the Catholic school in maintaining its religious ethos. Government funding can enhance educational access and equity by enabling our schools to offer quality education to broader demographic groups, including underprivileged communities. Such funding often supports infrastructure, teachers' salaries, and educational resources, directly impacting the quality of education which is provided. Despite the benefits, government funding can also lead to controversies, particularly concerning curriculum control and adherence to Catholic ideology. In jurisdictions where funding is contingent upon adherence to national education standards, Catholic schools may face pressure to compromise on their religious teachings to secure the funding. For example, in the United States, the debate around government funding for Catholic schools is intertwined with discussions on such things as school vouchers, educational choice. While direct government funding is limited to strict separation of church and state, it is indirectly benefit Catholic schools through various voucher programs. My understanding in Germany offers a unique model for Catholic schools receiving government funds, but must adhere to state educational standards. This arrangement facilitates high-quality education aligned with national standards while allowing schools to retain their religious character. In Kenya, Africa, Catholic schools receive government funding but retain significant autonomy over their educational and religious activities. Government funding of Catholic schools necessitates a careful balance between upholding educational standards and respecting religious freedoms. Policymakers must navigate these waters delicately to foster an environment where religious schools can thrive without compromising their foundational values. The international landscape of government funding for Catholic schools showcases a complex tapestry of benefits and challenges. While such funding promotes educational equity and quality, it also requires robust frameworks to ensure that Catholic schools can maintain their religious autonomy. Moving forward, the dialogue between government bodies and religious educational students is crucial in shaping policy that respects both educational standards and religious doctrine. So some strategy would be exploring partnerships, exploring endowments, alumni networks, and sustainable funding sources. Also implementing cost-effective measures and, unfortunately, lean management practices to reduce expenses. The fourth challenge I'd like to share with you is upholding academic and ethical standards. Maintaining high academic and ethical standards is a cornerstone of our Catholic schools. In an era where academic performance is crucially scrutinized, our schools must continually adapt their curricular and teaching methods to ensure that they meet rigorous educational standards while also imparting values. Upholding standards amidst global educational shifts, Catholic schools must continually adapt to global educational standards that emphasize STEM education. Some would say STREAM, so that we would have also religion incorporated in the education, and critical thinking skills, ensuring that they maintain a competitive and are relevant. Examples: integrating STREAM education within the framework of Catholic philosophy thus provides a holistic approach that spans scientific and ethical education. Revamping curricula to include advanced STREAM programs aligned with ethical reasoning and Catholic teachings, and provide professional development, ensuring that our teachers are well equipped with modern teaching methodologies and subject matter expertise. The fifth and last challenge I'd like to share with you is social justice and environmental concerns. Catholic social teaching emphasizes justice, peace, and reverence for creation. Today's educators are tasked with integrating these teachings into their curricula, especially in light of global issues like poverty, inequality, and climate change. Educating students about these challenges and motivating them to take action is crucial for forming conscientious global citizens. Social and environmental responsibilities are aligned with the papal encyclicals like Laudato Si. Catholic education has a unique role in promoting social justice and environmental stewardship. This involves incorporating global issues such as war, peace, climate change, poverty, and inequity into the curriculum. Programs that combine environmental science education with community projects, teaching students to apply knowledge in a real-world setting and reflect Catholic social teaching. Strategies would be to integrate global citizenship education that emphasizes social justice, peace, and ecological awareness. Encourage community-based projects where students engage in projects that address local and global challenges, fostering a sense of responsibility and activism. In conclusion, the global challenge facing Catholic education demands a dynamic, proactive approach to sustain our mission in the modern world. By embracing both tradition and innovation, Catholic educational institutions can navigate these challenges, offering a curriculum that is not only academically excellent, but also rich in moral and spiritual formation. This adaptive strategy ensures that Catholic education remains a relevant and influential force in shaping the global citizens of tomorrow. The challenge, my friends, is to walk on water. The promise is, I will always be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, I hope you hear me. Before we absolve you, Method is going to probably point the camera at me, but maybe a couple of questions before you can go attend to your students. They have an exam or something, I think, yeah?
Yeah, we have a dissertation. So I could stay till about another 15 minutes or so.
So yeah, I think I have two questions, and then just to ask you to be, let's say, not too strict on the students. But the first question you were mentioning,
I'll have to say too.
you were mentioning secularization and issues of secularization, and I think that this is one of the issues where the origins of secularization for a society like you have in America, or one where we had, let's say, a very monolith previous regime, are quite different. And for us, secularization can often mean we're going down to the lowest common denominator, which is basically nothing. So if we cannot agree wholeheartedly on everything, then we're going to just sort of relativistically say there are no real values that we need to uphold because we cannot agree on all of them. How do you see an argument for a Catholic education with sort of value approach in dialogue with the society?
So I don't see them as I see they're complementing each other. I think the whole concept of taking challenges and putting something positive, and then so exactly what are the challenges that we face, okay, and how are these issues going to be addressed in our schools? I don't know if that correctly answers, but we have to have adaptable curriculums.
Okay, not sure we're on the same page, but the next question I really want to know is, yeah, you come to Vatican.
Maybe I didn't understand the question correctly. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. So, okay, go back on that. So, secularism in Slovenia means we may not want to instill any kind of values because we cannot all, as a society, agree on every specific bit of them. And we had debates in the past where school was meant to only instruct and not educate. We were throwing education out of the equation. We're just giving instruction, knowledge, and no real attitudes or virtues as such, and trying to be doing this in the system, trying to uphold the values that we hold dear as Catholics, might be seen as something not in dialogue with this society. So this is what I was sort of referring to, if you understand what I mean.
So Catholic schools have the responsibility of what we say baptizing the curriculum. That's why I mentioned stream. Okay. So besides the technology aspect, there's art in there in the word stream and arts. So we're responsible also for the religious education. So it's not a Catholic school, right? If it's not implementing or adapting Catholic theology. If that's what you're saying this is happening in the Catholic schools?
Yeah, I'm saying we're trying to, but then it's an issue of how are we now in dialogue with the society? If we're trying to sort of push our own agenda, we may want to we may face some obstacles, or some people saying no, you're backwards, you're doing your own thing, you're not really participating to the common society that we have. It's an issue of seeing pluralism for what it should be, I think, in our instance. And so it's yeah, a challenge of getting us into a space where we could go and coexist with values, with having real values in the state schools and in the Catholic schools, maybe not agreeing on everything completely, but agreeing at least on that we are educating people to uphold certain values.
So I think there's a point where you say, okay, this is who we are and this is what we stand for. Okay. And then people have a choice. If that's your question, if you want to, my understanding is that, you know, I understand, again, I addressed that issue about diversity, all right, and pluralistic philosophies. However, we do have our own beliefs, that we have our own value system, and they might be opposed to the value system of society. The other piece you were talking about, I think you mentioned something about a mechanistic education, where we're teaching for the test and we're just teaching. Am I correct? Did you mention that?
Oh, you could interpret, yeah, you could interpret it that way.
No, because it's interesting that the Holy Fathers have a meeting on, a thing he instituted was the Meaning University, where we move away just from data-driven information, but to place contextuality within the curriculum.
Mm.
So more to follow on that when I know about the meeting.
Yeah, and you also mentioned a set of sort of our own specific Catholic challenges that we face when implementing AI. And I am a little bit curious about the work that you're consulting on at the dicastery. Are there any reflections towards, let's say, not, I wouldn't want to say a centralized approach, but is the Catholic Church, to your knowledge, thinking about the challenge that lies here, or is this something left up to the schools in America, to schools in Slovenia? Do you see anyone with some real awareness of what this shift is bringing to this entire field?
Yeah, so recently, okay, in about, I guess, I'm not sure what the publication will be coming out. There will be a publication coming out by the dicastery, okay, related to this issue and to modern educational issues. What we were required to do was to review articles, and I submitted 2 or 3 articles regarding AI in education, and the concerns that we have, and the challenges and the opportunities that it presents. So yeah, so there is consultation on this. I don't have the final documents that are going to come out, but they will be coming out in the new published journal by the dicastery, if that's your question. So they are being addressed. So the question went out to scholars around the world, right? So different consultants from around the globe to comment on this.
And do you see, I mean, we sometimes look up to America being a little bit ahead of us. Do you see your schools being more ready, more reflective already on the issues, or are we more or less in the same pace? What would you say?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't know where everybody is globally, but we're faced with, you know, everybody is at their own pace, and some may be more ahead of the United States. But all I could tell you is that AI is here to stay, and we are dealing with it in our schools, especially the ethical component of AIs and the dehumanization of AI. That's where we're focusing at the National Catholic Education Association, right? But it's not going anywhere. So again, the way we baptize the curriculum, it's time to baptize AI.
Maybe last question for you, Jerry. Have you seen, or is it already influencing the way that you structure your courses at Fordham for the future educators, for the future school leaders? Are you already implementing stuff concerning AI?
So yeah, we have already started using AI as a tool, right? So just for example, a lot was around in our ethics classes, okay, dealing with AI, how to utilize AI, etc. But if you're talking about students using AI, the professor will have to put in their curriculum that the professor allows the student to use AI in answering questions, etc. So the challenge is the actual writing of essays, so they have to be personalized when they're completing their students. The other piece to this, all right, is we're forming administrators, okay, but we also have to form the teachers in terms of professional development. With the administrators, we have to share with them what exactly is AI, okay, how does it help me in administration, and what effects does it have on the curriculum.
Great. Jerry, thank you for your time. I think we can absolve you now. There's a gift, but you're not here in person. So in Strasbourg, okay? When you see you.
Okay. I'll be hanging out for another few minutes though, because I'm interested in the conversation.
Okay. So thank you to Jerry, and good luck with the students and with the exam.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you pass. And we're going to continue with Marie-Thérèse, so our northern neighbor. She's responsible for a lot of things concerning Catholic schools with the Bishops' Conference of Austria. And I'm actually giving you the same initial sort of point of departure as Jerry was given before. So what do you see, maybe some specific challenges that you have in the Austrian Church? Are you already preparing teachers, educators to deal with the issues concerning AI, which is one of the sort of challenges? Are there other challenges that you see as more sort of pertinent? I'm going to give you the floor, and later after Paul responds, then we're all going to have a sort of roundtable debate. So go ahead, Marie-Thérèse.
Najprej dobro večer svima. Thank you. For the information, for the invitation.
Marie-Thérèse, can you maybe get a little bit louder?
I'll try. Is that better?
Not really. I'm just going to hold on.
Not quite sure where.
Do you have the right output microphone selected?
Se slišiš sam premalo. Mikrofonski izvoz smo reći. Koji će trajati.
Now we don't hear anything.
Just 1 second.
No. Mute. I think you might have the wrong microphone selected.
Is that better now?
Oh, perfect. Now we're good. Yeah. No, now it's back to
Nothing.
no, nothing. Whatever you did 5 seconds ago worked, and now they're saying something to do with your headset. When you put them back, when you put them down, you shut down something. Okay. Maybe put the headset back on. They're suggesting. Yeah, this is gonna. This might be good. No, we're
Yeah.
not yet. No, not yet. Just before you put them down, it worked perfectly, but now we're not seeing or we're not hearing you. I can't hear you. Yeah, no. Okay, you're connected.
Yes, now again, but I'm too.
But it's again very, very quiet. And now it's nothing.
Now that works?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I
Perfect.
hope it will stay that way.
Let's keep it that way, yeah. No, it's okay.
Yeah, same thing happened again, sorry. Can you
Now
still hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, what I would like to do is share my screen with you. Just a second. Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna make you co-host and you're gonna share.
Yeah. Sorry, so.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll sorry. All right. So you can see that, yeah?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, perfect. So first step managed, yeah. So what I would like to do is what you initially asked me in your email to point out some specifica of the Catholic schools in Austria and maybe questions of how church is trying to steer certain school developments. And I'm going to skip through or go very fast through some formation concepts that we're enhancing at the moment, and then also challenge the question of digitalization and trying to inform you maybe about some approaches. So to the national context, just to give you a bit of an idea, we do have depends a bit on how what way of counting you take, but generally speaking, we have 291 Catholic schools of all school types, and additionally around 550 kindergartens. We have a great number of school owners, around 90 school owners. There are some diocesan trusts, there are foundations, associations. There are, of course, religious orders and even a parish that runs a school. The teaching personnel in Austria is paid by the state, and mostly there are some religious education teachers that are employed by the church in the first years of their employment. But other than that, they're generally employed by the state, and they have a contract with the state, not with the church. Infrastructure and afternoon care personnel is paid by school owners, and that is what makes up the necessity of school fees in Austria. This the way this is organized gives the church limited possibilities to oblige teachers to attend pre-service or in-service training. So it's of course the school owner can strongly recommend and ask for this, but there's actually no legal obligation to attend these formation offers, which makes and a lot of effort has to be put in convincing teachers that this is a good thing to do. So there is actually no national interdiocesan concept of formation concepts, but various different concepts by different school owners and also by the dioceses, and there are some efforts on interdiocesan level as well. What I think makes Catholic schools in Austria also quite unique on a global scale is that in Austria, every recognized church community has the right to offer religious education in school, and that also applies to religious education in Catholic schools. So the only difference in Catholic schools from public schools is that in the Catholic school, via school contract, the pupils are obliged to attend the religious education of their respective belief, and if they have no confession, then they're recommended to attend Catholic or Protestant religious education. Yes, so I think that makes our schools quite diverse in some respect. And and it gives our schools also a certain approach that is not maybe evangelization in a very strict sense, but to foster religious sensibility. So we want a Muslim child in an Austrian Catholic school to become a better Muslim, actually. You asked me about church influence in Catholic schools. This is very formal now. We have some framework regulations because we have, since we have this contract with the school that the teachers are living subsidies, so paid by the state. We have some other private schools that do not have this contract with the state wanting to become Catholic schools. So we do have to have some criteria what actually makes a Catholic school Catholic, and what are the criteria that they can become a Catholic school. We do, of course, have employment criteria for teachers and head personnel by the Austrian Bishops' Conference. As I said, various formation concepts. These are organized basically by church-run teacher training colleges. We have different Catholic school days and conferences organized by the dioceses, and yearly conferences for school leaders of the different school types and for school governors, and that would be part of my job, organized by the Interdiocesan Board for Catholic Education and the Conference of the Religious Orders. What we're working on at the moment is also based on the latest document for Catholic schools by the Vatican, which will also includes this obligation of visitation, and we're working on that to make that an event that both sides can actually grow on, and not just a pure, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking for the word, Überprüfung. nothing that the schools would have to fear. Yeah, we have various onboarding courses, emphasizing on the charisms of the religious orders, Christian anthropology and the religious background of the schools, and of course a very strong emphasis on the Christian ethos of the school, safeguarding and pastoral care. There is some continuing education for teachers with topics as identity forming, development, processes, spirituality, pastoral care, mental welfare in schools, and school culture based on a Christian ethos. What we put a lot of effort in, and that would be probably also maybe the strongest influence that the church has in trying to steer the school development of Catholic schools, and these are the yearly conferences for school heads according to the different school types, and we address different, usually very topics that are important at the moment. And they could be crisis management and grief and trauma intervention. Now, of course, after COVID, that was very important, but also topics such as participation, self-care, and artificial intelligence. So we are also we've had a big conference on artificial intelligence, and there are many more planned. All the topics that we face usually do get theological or spiritual embedding, so we try to point out the theological perspective on the topic as well. There's always a school visit so that they can learn from each other. We do the same with school governors. We have them 1 year online and the second year in presence. The last time we had questions such as ethical management, what that implies, also in topics such as ecology, but also inclusion, both in regard to special needs, but also children of poorer families. The challenges that we're facing in Austria, just some of them. We do, probably just like you in Slovenia, have a severe shortage of teachers. And that makes it particularly difficult in finding teachers and school heads that'll fit into the ethos of the Catholic school. So of that are Catholic, or even if they're baptized, do have any religious socialization. We have very few religious or priests present at the school. There is an association of former religious order schools. So these are the religious orders that can no longer run the schools out of financial reasons, and there's great effort to keep up the charism of the order, but of course that is getting increasingly difficult. We do have a very multicultural and multi-religious setting in society. So also with teachers and students. So that, of course, creates the challenge of making something like a Christian ethos of a school understandable. And there is a diminishing understanding of the Christian language, tradition, and message in secular society. So something that I meet a lot in my work is mission statements that use a certain terminology in a very in a way as if these terms would be very understandable. So something like, our pedagogy is based on a Christian image of man, and there is maybe not enough depth in the terms that are used. So if you ask further, what does that actually mean? Then this becomes more and more difficult to convey, or people who have written those, or at least who have them in their drawers, those mission statements, would not necessarily be able to to live up to those terms, or be able to explain them. So there is actually a great need, I think, to reflect upon what a Catholic school actually is. So I have put together a few questions that I think are vital, and of course Jerry has said a lot already. What is a Catholic school in today's world? So I think that is probably one of the the fundamental question, or the question that schools have to face if they want to be authentic, if they want to be able to convey what actually makes them Catholic. So I think that is nothing that can be answered just by looking into tradition and having a ready definition, but it's something that has to be reflected upon over and over again with the people involved in the schools, and facing, of course, contemporary challenges. So we live in a world of rapid transformation, and digitalization is definitely one of those challenges, but there are more challenges. And I think this is very important, that there are spaces for reflection. And of course, also meeting the roots, not forgetting about the roots, but interpreting them anew. So how can the original vision of a school, an M is missing, the charism of a religious order, live on? What ways can be found that this can be conveyed into the everyday life of the school? That this is not just words on paper, but actually has an effect on the way people deal with problems in the school. How we deal with the most vulnerable in the schools? What makes a school Catholic, and what is a Catholic school ethos? I work a lot with young teachers, and their first answer would maybe be that, well, we have Mass at school. So I'm sure this is very important for school life, but if it's reduced to the event of Mass and has no effect in everyday life and the pedagogy, I would not necessarily say that is a very successful Catholic school. What is the mission of a confessional school in the educational system and in society? So I think Catholic schools should not or cannot be self-sufficient in that way, but they have the explicit mission to contribute to something to society other than something that can be used in terms of economic needs. So I will come back to that. So I think the contribution to society is something that needs to be reflected on. And maybe very basic, what is the essence that children and young adults should remember after visiting school, a Catholic school? School is something that coins people, that people are shaped from or try to overcome for the rest of their lives if they have very bad school experiences. So if they spend so much time in a Christian surrounding, how does that shape their personality? What do we actually want children to gain from a Catholic school other than, let's say, manners and good knowledge? So how do we foster a Christian school ethos? So what are the concrete measures? What do we need to make the Christian school ethos tangible, and maybe not, as you, Marco, said, not only the smallest thing in common, yeah, with secularized views. So what are the values that we want to put forward? And how do we convey our message in a way that is understandable to people from secular settings and also of other religious beliefs? Yeah. So I think we do have a very clear message, and this message can be put in terms that can be very understandable, but it takes some effort. So the measures that are taken in Austria is that there's great emphasis on school development and Christian profile. There are conferences also for head teachers on recruitment. So how do we develop a certain sensibility that even if people are maybe further away from the church, that we recognize that they will fit into the school ethos, and that there's room for spiritual development and willingness to work within this school ethos and pass it on. There are efforts to enhance formation concept in the dioceses, development of onboarding and in-service programs by various school orders, and something that we're putting a lot of effort in now also on the interdiocesan level, and also in great cooperation with the Protestant Church in Austria, is trying to implement school pastoral care on a more structural level. Yeah, that because we think that this is very important now, especially after COVID, where it's very noticeable that mental health issues have grown a lot in the schools. So, facing the topic of your conference, actually, Catholic schools and digitalization, I think Jerry has said the majority of the things that I would like to point out. Well, first of all, of course, we're in Austria as well embracing technical development. It's part where schools are part of the development. There are and have been iPad classes, learning platforms, and other devices and structures in place for a long time. And we do realize that also AI will have a lot of opportunities. There are various conferences, but I would not say that there is a great interdiocesan strategy yet how to meet the new challenges of AI. I would like to, maybe what you asked Jerry as well, add to the work of the dicastery, because I'm part of Comité, a working group of the European Commission of the European Bishops' Conference, and there, of course, there is an AI report from the European Commission, and so there's a lot of collaboration trying to understand that and maybe integrate that into some Christian approach from Comité. So also in Austria, I'd say there is great awareness to the latest developments, and an awareness that these developments could also challenge some of the foundation of Catholic schools. Yeah, the before mentioned anthropological approach. What is the human being? And I think also based on that, very important, I do think that AI is a great turning point, and our schools will radically have to change their complete approach to education. I think, I'll go on to to my Kant reference. I think 300 years Kant's birthday allows me to make a little reference to Kant. And you all know probably those 3 or 4, depends, famous questions by Kant. And I think they can actually be used very well for reflecting further on this question of a new approach to education facing AI, or the challenges that we're faced with. So addressing the first question, what can I know? And of course, Kant is talking about his critique of reason here. But if we apply that to the purpose of education, of conveying knowledge, I think that brings us to the question that we have to face probably anew now is what is the actual purpose of education? Is the purpose of education to enable children and young adults to gain knowledge? And if yes, in what way do we have an eye on the progress? Because I think even though, of course, there are modern approaches in pedagogy, of course, I think school is still in many ways based on a method of reproduction. So I give you knowledge and you reproduce, but that way I think we will end up just exposing deception all the time. So you haven't done that. This was AI. So I think, we will have to put much more emphasis on fostering critical thinking, on also maybe very creative approaches, in some way engaging in artificial intelligence, being able to use them, and at the same time being able to critically evaluate them and find other ways of dealing with knowledge and evaluating progress in knowledge. What creative ways will we find in checking on that knowledge. I think something that is very often mentioned is that that there's a great difference between AI and the human being, which would be the fallibility of the human being. But I personally am somewhat skeptical, because I think you can train AI to make mistakes. What I think is a very important difference is actually human encounter and social encounter. Which has many unforeseen aspects. I think the way people learn from encounter, personal encounter in presence, because this is something I think that we learned in COVID, that there is a huge difference between digital encounter and personal encounter. So I think, the way we address education will also have to take this into account a lot, And we will have to, of course, face maybe a new definition of the goals of education. What is our primary goal of education? What do we want our students and to be able to be able for at the very end of their education? The second question probably is already an answer to the first one, and Jerry addressed that as well. So Kant's practical question, or leading towards practical reason, what ought I to do? So I think this is something that is particularly important purpose of Catholic education, is to educate students to become active members of civil society. Also, to be able to deal with the challenges of AI, which will be part or are already part of the digital natives world in a responsible way, but also to teach them to be able and willing to take on responsibility, not only in a consumerist way to engage with AI, but also to become responsible. Then also creating spaces for participation, also in the digital way, because this is, as Jerry mentioned, one of the downsides maybe of digitalization, that at the moment anyway, it's still excluding some people, yeah. But ways of participation within the school to teach students to become participant members of society and to stand up for their rights and voice their opinion. To become aware of topics such as social justice and ecological issues. To participate in democracy. So I think this is something that probably facing AI will become even more important. Then the interesting question of Kant, for what may I hope? So how do we create open spaces at our school for faith, for future, for encounter? So I think there is a danger within conveying knowledge that is always evident, and probably even more with AI now and digital knowledge, that knowledge can sometimes become self-sufficient and totalistic. So I think we need open spaces, also spaces for questions, and the awareness, or teaching the awareness that there are not always answers for questions, or that they're not always available. And there are some unavailability, some things that we may never understand, but we will have to accept, or also, of course, spirituality and meeting spiritual needs. The humility for the unanswerable. So I think this is something that through religious education can be conveyed. And the last question, of course, so what is the human being? This is a question that has to be addressed anew, facing the digital challenges. What makes the human human in comparison to a maybe humanoid artificial intelligence? Making maybe a strong point for the untangibility, the vulnerability, the fragility of the human being, but its ability to learn from encounter, to make progress, to strive for God, for the spiritual. So I think these are also very strong points that can be addressed. And last and foremost, how can a Catholic school contribute to humanizing the world? Yeah, so these are maybe a few approaches that I would address. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marie-Therese. I think it's really enriching. And before we go on to a debate, I would like to give the floor now to Paul. Thank you also for joining us. I know you're also having to rearrange your day a little bit, but can you maybe now, in your sort of introduction note, give us a bit of the context of what you're facing in Ireland, what your situation is like, especially like with the Marie-Therese also focused on the challenges of digitalization and AI.
Okay, and hello everybody, and Marco, I'm quite happy to do it mainly with questions from yourself, if that suits you as well. Can can I just begin by thanking His Grace for the mentioning Monsignor Jim Casson. Monsignor Jim was very proud of his involvement with the school there at St. Stanislaus. He was very much happy with his involvement with you all in Slovenia. And it's a great loss to us personally and to the church that Jim is no longer with us. So I just wanted to note that and to thank people for the remarks in relation to him. The second point I'd make is Ireland is obviously very different from your own situation in that we are coming from a situation historically where we have very few state schools and we mainly have primary schools that are owned by the church. In fact, 90% of the schools in Ireland are church-owned primary schools, and about 50% of the schools at second level from 12 to 18 years of age are owned by the Catholic Church. So we are going through many of the same things that have been outlined by Jerry and Marie-Therese. The challenges of what is a Catholic school, the challenges of secularization, the challenge of changes that are occurring in different parts of society. And we are reflecting in one way, the bishop, there are suggestions because we have so many primary schools and there aren't as many people nowadays are practicing Catholics that we should reduce the number of primary schools. The bishops are quite happy to do that. They have said, listen, if there are schools who would like no longer to be Catholic schools and would like to go under a different patronage model, then they're happy for that to happen. So over the last number of years, and really it's been about 10 years, we've only had about 10 out of 3,000 schools have taken that action. And the reason, I think, is that even if there are less practicing Catholics, people in Ireland have been very used to the quality of the Catholic school, the tradition and trust that they have developed in the Catholic school. They like the value-based education. They like the fact that it's part of the community. They like character formation. They like academic excellence. Schools in Ireland at primary level have very excellent teachers generally. So we're in a situation, as I say, where although it seems odd that we might be trying to reduce the number of schools, it's something that parents don't particularly want to happen. So we're quite happy at primary level to continue to provide Catholic education. And at second level, we are, as I say, about 50%. So there is choice for parents, some greater choice at second level. So do you want to ask me anything specific about that, Marco?
So apparently I was muted. Yeah, I was just giving up the other microphone. Yeah, thank you for the context. Now, if you have any thoughts on the challenges of digitalization and the ever-increasing use of AI in schools, how do you see this field developing in Ireland? Are you prepared? Do you have a plan? Where do you stand?
Okay. Again, Jerry and Marie-Therese have covered quite a number of points, and I don't need to repeat them. I don't think anybody's prepared for it. Personally, I think it is something that has blown up so quickly and so fast. If you think of ChatGPT, wasn't known about, say, 2 years ago or whatever. Now it's something which so many people are involved with. The big challenge I think about it is what's real anymore. Do you see a picture, you see text, you see news? How can you know what's real and what's not real? And that, I think, is the biggest problem with it. We're almost going to go back to a point of where eyewitnesses will be needed to know whether there is truth or not. Old journalism may return in that sense. In terms of school, I think most people are looking upon it as an opportunity rather than an immediate threat. Teachers like the idea that classes can be prepared using AI that are very effective and very, very, handy. There are certain areas of school life where they are particularly of an advantage. But of course, the disadvantages come about with what is students' work. Increasingly, if in society you ask for essays, certainly at university level in Ireland, they're having big problems knowing whether anybody has produced any of the work. That is, I know there are some mechanisms by which you can check on the validity of the work, but I think a lot of people would suggest that work has been done by machines that maybe weren't being done by the students themselves. We have in Ireland an exam system to get to university, which is very highly regarded, but it is brutal in the sense that it is a written examination, which takes place in 2 weeks in June, for 2 weeks in June in about 6 or 7 subjects. And that is all done at the moment as a written examination. And some people are saying, well, that might have to stay now at second level because of the danger of the AI and people just producing projects, etc., which are written elsewhere. The disadvantage, of course, is that if we move more towards project work, then those parents who are better off, or students who are better off, will have better access to artificial intelligence, and therefore that's as been mentioned earlier about equity and that kind of thing. I think certain aspects of language, mathematics, etc., may lean more. That kind of intelligence may be mirrored by artificial intelligence, but some of the more emotional and spiritual intelligences maybe will remain very much in the human bailiwick. And as Marie-Therese was outlining there will be ways, we hope, of continuing the importance of relationships and encounter. I think in Ireland we found the schools during COVID, it was the thing that was missed most was the socialization rather than the pedagogy. The pedagogy could continue on online to some extent, and to that extent AI can be useful. But it was the loss of encounter, the loss of relationship with teachers, and that's where the mental health problems, etc., have been arising. So, as I say, I don't want to repeat everything that they have said, but I hope that helps just to add to the what has been outlined.
Yeah, maybe you can add another thing. What do you think is an appropriate sort of formal solution? Sure, we're talking about what the students need to know, what the teachers need to know concerning the use of AI, but how do you get this know-how, or how do you get this sort of reflection to the schools? In case you're head of a Lacaley board, or in case you're working for the Bishop Conference, what are your sort of tools or channels to get this sort of formation for teachers or school leaders to incorporate reflections on AI? Where do you see the path forward?
Well, we have a national curriculum board that deals with issues of curriculum, and arising from that, there then will be within each subject area pedagogical programs which are organized through third level through the universities would be brought into play. And they will introduce elements, they are already introducing elements of AI into their work. So it will be done to individual teachers through the general CPD programs that exist, not specifically for Catholic schools, but would exist for all schools in Ireland, where the CPD is an ongoing feature of the education system.
And with Jerry's words, do you have a way to baptize these programs?
Well, we're using not specifically AI, but all programs really, for particularly the formation of leadership. While many, if you're a religious education teacher, their work is being baptized all the time, to use his phrase. If you are a teacher of English or a teacher of mathematics, then it's part of the wider work. Many of our schools now, because of the congregations are gradually disappearing, we have, as you know, a number of trust companies, and part of the trust companies' work is to give ongoing formation to teachers. And we're using increasingly the phrase, seeing things through a Catholic lens, so that as we're talking about items that we're kind of saying, here's the Catholic Church's view on such and such, and that's been done. So it's all through the CPD programs that are around.
So lastly, before I invite the Bishop and Director to join us here for a short debate, I forgot to mention you're also the president of the Catholic, I don't know the English word actually, and I'm part of it. So the European Committee for Catholic Education founders. Do you see a sort of initiative or an opportunity in this international cooperation in terms of sharing, in terms of common development of strategies when it comes to the question of increasing use of digitalization and concretely AI?
Absolutely. I mean, as you know, our meetings, I admire the fact there, for example, that this meeting has been held through English, and I think that's, you know, it's helpful for me as a native speaker, but the fact that many people may not have English and therefore cannot hear what we're saying here. But I think the opportunities through AI of instantaneous translation programs, for example, are going to be one of the key items which we're already thinking about at CEC level, where we could speed up meetings by having a situation where AI will be able to bring people instantaneous translations without the costs that currently are there. The second item, I think, where it is very valuable, and we'll be looking at the European, our office in Brussels, to be a hub, if you like, for information, is that now the Slovenian document might be produced by your university there, which before would have been only generally seen by a Slovenian audience, whereas now with AI translations, documents can become much more available to people. And I think that's going to enhance the role of the CEC as a kind of information flow where research and other matters that are going on can be shared right throughout the 27 countries that belong to the CEC.
Thank you, Paul. And now I would like to invite the Bishop and the Director to join us. And maybe the first challenge for the Bishop, having heard all of this, and also being in the loop of all the current sort of developments as also part of the committee, how do you see these challenges of ever more present digitalization and the increasing use of AI, especially in the field of education?
Maybe first I have two comments, because we'll be in context with this question. Thank you so much to Marie-Therese for a very clear lecture, very systematic, about where we are now. This is important because in which society, in which Europe. So I visited before 2 years with the bishop from in Utrecht, the school, and always we listened. It was before 20 years, it was in last century, it was before 50 years, and many such discussions. And then when we have plenary session of bishops' conferences, I'm member of committee, Marie-Therese, she mentioned this, and the president of Commission of Ethics, many times with the bishop, especially with the bishop, said, oh, it was. And the last plenary session was in Poland, in Lwowza, in Belarus, and it was again, it was 50 years ago. So first, I want to emphasize that this time is our challenge. This is the incarnation. We are here. And the gospel is here. So maybe we have to first accept and be grateful for this moment that we are here. Second, we are talking, because this is correct with the artificial intelligence. Second is, many times we are talking about secularization, especially bishops. We have this professional mistake that, yes, if there is some problems, there is secularization, no more God, no, I don't know, people are against God, and so on, so on, so. But yes, of course, first, I want to emphasize that secularization is problem just of European states, not of India, not of China, Africa, South America. So, second, why it's happened this in Europe and states? I suggested you, for all who are working also in Catholic schools and other schools, Charles Taylor, Canadian philosopher, wrote a very excellent book, Secular Age. And he analyzed what had happened in Europe during the Enlightenment and before. But what had happened, what is wrong, why it is this, we are in secular age. And we have to also answer ourselves, not just the society world, the societies, I don't know, everything is wrong. Maybe what was wrong in the church? You will be surprised that I am talking about this, but it is. We have to ask ourselves, maybe as Pope Benedict XVI emphasized many times, that the church become too much moralistic and dogmatistic. So you have to do, you must do, you must do. No gospel. And dogma, just this, and this. So it is the challenge for us that we ask. Also Pope Francis many times emphasized the same, in other words, with the sense of Latin America, of course, he says the social dimension of his talking about this, that maybe we believe in this, excellent system, excellent theology, excellent structure, but where is place for God and man and Holy Spirit? We have everything we want to control, as Heidegger said, on Pope on another way. Everything we want to control in this age of technology, rationality of technology, which want to really be that it is like a God. So it means what is our challenge now? Maybe, and this is secular age, and when we are talking about secularization, is the question for ourselves, for Catholic school, for Master, for Bishop. Maybe is this the challenge for all of us, that for the new kinds of spirituality, and also we have to go back to gospel. And Professor Halik many times emphasized in his books that something has also died in our life, and also in the structure in the church. So that will be really the place for something new. So the time of secularization is reality, but it's also a big challenge that maybe we will find again to go back to gospel and to believe in the witness of Lord, as also the gospel of today is said. So, and now about artificial intelligence. Yes, thanks God for artificial intelligence. We need it for many things. And I suggest you two very simple documents. Pope message for Peace Day, 1st January, His was about artificial intelligence. You know, every year for 1st January, Paul wrote the letter, and it was about artificial intelligence. Then I'm president of the Commission on Ethics in Brussels of COMETSE, and we discussed in March 2 days about artificial intelligence, AI, what is possible to do. It is this many changes are also in this level. You are professional and you will explain really what it is, the reality. But it is, okay, this is the challenge for us, we can use it. What it is for me, as a bishop or the teacher in the here teacher and now in the university is, yes, I said also students, it's no problem. You can use ChatGPT-4, you can use Gemini, you can use, it is okay. But now we have to read the essay. We have to read it because before maybe you can believe that it was. So this is, but I'm worried about the creativity. Creativity because yes, we have a lot of facts, data, we can use it. The artificial intelligence can help us, but we have to be very careful about this, that we really support in many ways what is possible. My students, they have to write the essay for philosophy, religion, or ethics by hand. Yes, maybe, okay, and without phone and other computers, they wrote it at home, or they can use everything. But it's now we have really carefully to read. But I see when it is really, okay, use some data or artificial intelligence, but creativity is important, because without this, somebody, what we can do in our planet, it is, yes, we have a lot of information, but what it is important, the man, that we will never forget that there is a person with his story of life, and that we have to support the creativity of everybody. And this is the challenge, especially for teachers, big challenge.
And we can maybe pose this challenge to the director here. So we have a primary school, we have a secondary school, also kindergarten. Where do you see we are in this sort of challenge, in the embracing the humanity, embracing the personality of every individual, empowering him to be creative, while on the other hand, also what we heard, to have some critical thinking developed to use this technology? How prepared are we to face the changes that are coming? What do you think?
Well, actually, I don't know how far we are with this because of the use of technology. So we actually have to learn first, the teachers, the headmasters, how actually to use it. I think when we know what can we, let us say, profit from the use, how in different fields, it could be easier for us also to understand what the students can do. And I personally, I'm quite used to computers and so on, but I still don't know how to make profit for my work in the classes with the AI in different fields. So this is the first thing we have to learn, and therefore we organize this conference also, that we hear also different practices from different teachers and professionals who can also show us what actually we can do on this field, where we can use the technology. And the second point is when we know how to use it, then always remains this what was already said by Mr. Kataro and also Mrs. Igres. So it was like, what are the standards, the moral standards behind? So what are the main values? Like one of the main value is also in the last document of Pope, Dignitas Infinita. So the human dignity, which is infinite, and it should be in all cases, in all places, in all the technologies, it doesn't matter. So the human person is something that we can touch, so we can destroy. And that's the main point. Even if we use artificial intelligence and produce different models and so on, But this is the main point. And when we in the Catholic schools try to combine or use or find the ways how to use the technology with this knowledge of human man and the dignity of the human person, then maybe we can also offer for the future in the education field, also for the other schools, since not only Slovenia, but maybe there are more than, I don't know, 15,000 schools in the USA, I think, Catholic schools, and we can offer to the schools something, to the other schools also something new, and something productive, and something where everybody can learn. So that's, there are good points, I think.
We were all talking, or all, not all, but a lot of emphasis was put on the formation of teachers, on the preparation of teachers. There are different, Jerry, are you raising your hand?
Yeah.
You are, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
May I make a comment? Okay, may I
Sure,
make a
go
comment?
ahead.
I want to echo what the bishop was saying, okay? And also, I think Paul sort of mentioned, we're in an era of terra incognita. We don't know where we're stepping, you know, with all the technology that's happening. And I don't know if you're familiar with the sociologist, okay, Gerald Arbuckle, who talks about refounding. I think, Bishop, that's where you were going. Refounding is anchored in the grace of the foundation or anchored in the gospel, that when you reach this era of sort of a chaos or a terra incognito, you know, we need people to be prophets. We need the Holy Spirit to help us. We can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, all right? We have to proceed ahead. And in that case, that's how I see AI, in terms of that we really have to be prophetic and use it in terms of how we see it is promoting the dignity of the person. So I don't know, Bishop, if that was what you sort of were saying, but that's what I got from what your conversation.
Maybe artificial intelligence, it has to be just the tools, just what is assistant us, help us to work in our, it is very useful for many things, but it's never, it has to become the substitute for personal relation, that we are together, that we're talking. Thanks God we have now in pandemic time so many conferences, Zoom conferences, Teams and other way, and sometimes it's also useful if you have not time to organize the conference in presence. It is very good, but all of us, we have experienced that when we are together to look the face of somebody, Levinas wrote that the face of somebody is revelation of infinite. But to see the face here, of course, Marie-Therese, Gerald, and Paul, we also...
We're happy to have you, but would love to take you out to beer.
This is thus invitation that you will come very next time to Ljubljana. But I understand, of course. But so this personal relation and Pope in this document, Message for New Year, emphasized this, and also our Commission on Ethics emphasized in our statement in the end of January. It was published in Comets website, you can find it, about this, yes, some rules and how it is useful, because we all use the artificial AI, but what it is important, 2 points, man, we not forget that the man is the dignity of person, as Tone Chesson said. It is so important. Person in reality, not in the because artificial AI, it is possible that create the imagination, the world. It is not real. So this and another. What it is, creativity for me is the main question. That somebody to push our students, that when they will use, of course they will use artificial intelligence, but
then that will be just the tools for the creativity, what they will do, because this will be the unique in the life of students and in the world, and this will stay. If we just use the data of AI, then what it will do, it will not, because if we are working with the creator, we have to create also our the beauty and good enough.
Yeah, not to draw this too long, we're going to go to the last sort of short circle. One important aspect was this aspect of being together, being close. Can we maybe just all reflect on how do you see the Catholic education, schools being a link between the young person and the church? How the church is there in the Catholic school? How do you see a closeness of the church within a Catholic school? Is it the bishop should be here more often? You probably do miss St. Stanislaus a little bit. I know you loved it here. But what are some of the sort of steps we can take to make this relationship in this growing technology feel real, feel personal? Maybe we can start. Paul, would you like to start?
The one of the big difficulties we're having in Ireland at the moment is that exact point of the relationship of the church and the school. We have an aging population of priests, for example, and the average age has now gone up to 75 or over, I think, in Ireland. And so we're having to see how can the church and the school come together. In a sense, the young people are in the schools, and therefore that's where the witness can occur. That's where the evangelization, where possible, can occur. So it isn't about AI particularly. It's more about the relationship of the parish with the school. It's important that the encounter. I agree 100% with the bishop that it'd be much better to be there in person, because it's in that in the personal encounter, the personal relationship, that all growth occurs.
Thanks. Maybe Marie-Thérèse, could you continue?
Yes, I do agree with Paul as well. I think that our Catholic schools very often are actually the only places where young people at this stage still get in touch with the church or church-based values or community that fosters or understands itself on the basis of Christian values. So there are actually places of encounter with the church, maybe more than the parishes, where there's very often a lack of young people, So I think this is very important that these schools are understood also, let's say, also by church stakeholders as pastoral venues. And I think everywhere where a community is built upon the gospel or the values conveyed by the gospel, this community is a pastoral or a church-like place. And of course, the challenge will be to, I think a challenge that we are facing now with AI is actually that there could be, or there's the danger of a growing gap between the life reality of young people and of older generations. So I think it will be very important not to condemn certain ways of communication of the young, but also to appreciate them and to I'm thinking about that a lot in the last while. Also appreciate that they have this sort of closeness even through digital ways, and to embrace that and find ways maybe also this is things that the young church is looking into in Austria, the ways of also, conveying religious content through digital possibilities. Yeah, but I think that would be my answer. Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. Being close to young people through church, through school. You're mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. To me, it's the way of how do you define church? So you have to define church, number one. But having said that, okay, you can take the church out of the school, but you can't take the school out of the church if it's a Catholic school. There has to be a relationship between the two. I think you're looking at guidance for religious commitment, social integration, and outcomes. And these have to be in relationship, for me, to the church. I'm going to go one further, okay, and sort of talk about, remember Avery Dulles talked about models of the church, okay, and he gave various models of the church. To me, any, quote, institution that's taking on the term Catholic has to reflect, as we say each Sunday, the marks of the church. So it has to be unified, unity. It has to have some type of sacramentality, okay? Has to call people to holiness. It has to be universal, open to everybody. And it has to be apostolic in the sense that in union with the bishops, but also apostolic in terms of its service. So again, you can take the school out of the church, but you can't take it out of it. That's my opinion.
Thank you. So can you say who is the church here?
Are we going to have a synod? Are we going to go?
George, your answer, I just wanted to say just exactly this, because the Catholic school and church. Catholic school is also church, and is a church community full of life, joy, and many skills of our students. So yes, I understand what you think with maybe official church and founder or something, but what it is my experience when I was in St. Stanislaw or now, or have students with very different faculties, different religions, philosophy, it is so important that we really respect the person. He's seeking, he's trying to find his own answers. We have to support them and really respect the freedom of everybody to decide. Because if we are pushed too much, it was not good. We have to respect and believe that everybody is the image of the Lord. And what we can do is just to find that somebody, to support somebody that will really find this, that he's really the image of Lord. And here we have to wait maybe 1, 2 years, maybe 3, 5 years. Or now I'm sometimes I have all this time of confirmations. And I met that we know not in Slovenia, it was in one of the countries of Europe. One of the students who was here in St. Stanislaw, many problems. Mass, no. Religion, no. Well, this is nothing. He said this was against everything. Now, it's absolutely different. After 10, 15 years or more, 20 years, his husband, 5 children. Okay, it means you have just 3?
Just 3.
And another 2.
On the way,
yes, okay, yeah, on the way, yes. So we have to believe and respect that God is working now, here and now. We want to see tomorrow, yes, today, the fruits of our work. But it is impossible. In the school, in education, maybe we can wait long time, but the seed is in the ground, in the heart of everybody. So, where is the community where we are listening to each other? Where is trusted to the place for understand each other? Now we are in the time of synodality. So that is really the community, that is the church, and I think that this is also the revelation of Jesus Christ here and now. So Catholic school only in Ireland, in the States, or I don't know, in Utrecht, in Ljubljana, it is another school, not just Catholic, but other schools, of course, in different way. For me, I said many times, there is no atheism. Who prove me that there is no God or is God, I will give him my car. Okay, it's God. But the main problem is that they have just few things about God. They have the knowledge is now, especially in Slovenia. This is the problem of Slovenia, because it's no subject, religion and ethics in all schools. And second problem is enlightenment in Europe. Enlightenment. There is no in India. Enlightenment in Europe means I have all the answers. I will control everything. We have to change this with we. We are together. We can learn from each other, from students, parents, I don't know, from headmaster, teachers.
I think this is a great sort of ending point for this debate. So I'm just going to give the word to our director to thank everyone for their contributions. Yeah. Okay.
But actually, I have to look in this way. So thank you, Jerry, to New York. I greet you and I thank you for your participation in this conference, and also to Marie-Therese, to Vienna, and to Ireland. So thank you very much once again for being in this way, in digital way with us, and we hope to see us again in live, on the Facebook. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Here, so I thank you, Bishop Yannick, for your participation.
Jerry, your gift is mine.
No. So Marie-Therese and Paul, you get yours. We're driving to Strasbourg, so the next meeting we come by car.
When I meet you in Brussels or in Vienna, so it is for you also. Thank you so much. Hvala lepa.
And thanks to anyone who is coming here, and now I invite you to come for the fourth refreshment. Just follow us. We do not get lost in our school.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.